Hey everyone, I hope everybody's doing okay. I know right now there's a lot of unknown, and I know for a lot of you never dreamed that you would actually be experiencing worship maybe in this way. Um, but I just want to share with you. I shared with this last Sunday in worship, and as we begin an opportunity to worship again at this time, um, the excitement with all the unknown, with all maybe the anxiety and fear, and I believe there's also great excitement, or should be great excitement, for the opportunity for the church. Um, Over the last few days and watching last week as we started to see, hey, that a lot of churches and weren't going to be able to meet, and as that has continued through this week and continued as we're seeing more and more churches, and as our government has said, hey, we just to protect and all this, and this is just what needs to take place. I've seen more and more churches step up, and I am amazed at the creativity and how many people actually, even last Sunday in churches that did online services, the people that they had watching. And just seeing this past week the creativity, churches taking their online services to a new level. Really thinking, okay, how can we be even more creative to engage the church, whether it be in a small group setting, whether it be in having watch parties for worship experiences, children's ministry doing it live online, student ministry doing it live online, all these various things that even for churches that have been doing online for a while, even stepping up their game to a whole new level. So even in this time of the unknown, even in this time of fear, this time of the loss of jobs and the struggles and having maybe the anxiety of having to be cabin fever and all those different things like that, I really do believe just at different times, if you study church history, and we can see those defining moments, that years from now, if God decides that to wait, that years from now, as people study church history, they will look back at this time in church history as a defining moment. As a defining moment. Now, what I want to do over the next few moments, the time that we have, and is that I want to just continue in the series that we began last weekend. For those of you that maybe are with us for the very first time, we at the beginning of this year we started if you will, we have a theme for the year. Our theme is Ready, Set, Go, and we are preparing our sermon series are dealing with that theme. And so last Sunday, even in the midst of everything, we began a brand new series entitled Game On. And the way this looks, and from the series perspective, is dealing with this idea that, and here March Madness was canceled, NBA postponed. Right now, baseball has kind of been put on the back burner. All championships for colleges have been canceled. So if you're a sports fan like me, what do? And as you can see, I collect hats. And maybe if we have to do, as we continue doing online, maybe more and more, maybe I'll just bring out a hat each time. I don't know. We'll see how that works. But let's just say March Madness was going on, and we're in the national championship game. And you're on the team, or you've been picked to be on the team. Where would you find yourself on the team? Would you actually be on the court, on the basketball court playing? Would you be on the bench? Would you maybe be part of the staff that behind the scenes working per se? Or maybe you were asked to be on the team, but maybe you said no, and you said, I just want to watch. So you're up in the stands watching. Or maybe you were asked to be on the team and you said no, and maybe you if you will say, well, no, I'm not even inside the arena. I am out in the parking lot. Or maybe I just don't care. I don't care. As we talk a little bit about this, what I want us to do is kind of realization is that you and I are picked to be on a team. Now I can think about, at different times when I was growing up, we would play softball or kickball or dodgeball, and all of us probably can relate to this idea of a little bit of anxiety, of fear when teams were picked. You'd pick two captains. You'd be a captain of one team. You'd be a captain of another team, and then you're waiting to see, are you going to be picked? Am I going to be picked? When am I going to be picked? And am I going to be the last one to be picked? And that fear, that anxiety. Am I going to be the last one to be picked? Well, over in John chapter 1, verse 43, we see Jesus picking the very first disciples. The very first disciples, where Jesus said, "Come follow me." He went up to these disciples, he went up to these men, and he said, "I want you to come follow me." What Jesus is saying is, I want you to be on my team. I want you to be on my team. But here's the thing about it that we don't realize. These disciples, these early on, they could relate to this idea of being rejects. So how do we know that? Why would we say that? Well, you have to go back and you have to study culture a little bit to have an understanding of that. See, at the age of 6, every Jewish young man would go to the local synagogue and would enter into a time of training. And they would train and they would study the first 5 books of the Old Testament. And from age 6, they would start memorizing and studying from these books. And they would continue to do that. And then they would reach a point at the age of 10 that they would either be asked to continue in their study, or they would be told, no, you just don't have what it takes. You don't cut it. You can go home, and they would start to learn the family business or do whatever. But if you were picked, you would continue to carry on your studies to age 13. And at age 13, then you would find out, am I on the team? Do I continue to be under the hands of a rabbi, if you will, to be tutored and to be taught by a rabbi, or would I be cut from the team? In other words, sent home to, again, learn the family business or to start to figure out life in different ways. So we know when we see Jesus picking these men and we see the various responsibilities, the various jobs that these guys already had. Some of them were fishermen. We know that Matthew was a tax collector. We know that Luke was a doctor. So all these various positions, all these different influence in society and culture that these men already had. So we know they could understand, they could relate to being a reject. So when Jesus came up to them and Jesus said, "Come follow me," Jesus, as being known as a rabbi, as a teacher, Jesus saying, "Come follow me," this was something new to them. This was saying, wait a minute. I was told I didn't have what it took. I was told that I needed to leave. I was told that I didn't have it. And now you're saying I could be part of the team. And Jesus said, yeah, I want you part of my team. Now, I kind of look at this a little differently now than what I used to. I used to think that these guys kind of chose Jesus, if you will. Although Jesus said, "Come follow me," I really felt like that a blunt of it lied on the men to make the decision, to leave their various jobs. They'd already been rejected once, and they'd already taken on maybe the family business or something like that. But now they have this opportunity, and I think, well, they kind of jumped at the opportunity. They chose that. They chose Jesus. But the more I think about it, and the more I study, and the more I look at my own life, as a realization, and that Jesus chose them. Now, they did make the decision to be on God's team, just like we make the decision to be on God's team. But we have to have an understanding, too, that Jesus chooses us. Jesus chooses me. Jesus chooses you to be on his team. He wants us to be on his team. He desires for us to be on his team. In other words, what Jesus is saying is I believe you have what it takes, Jonathan. I believe he has what it takes. And he's saying that to you. I believe you have what it takes. I believe you have what it takes to be like me. I believe you have what it takes to be on my team. And when we look at it, what I found in my own life, and I believe this to be the case, that when we look at that way, it changes the whole perspective. It changes the whole idea. Now again, we have to, when Jesus says, hey, I want you to be on my team, we still make the choice, do we want to be on his team? But I'm really looking at it today, and this idea, looking at it differently, is Jesus chooses us. Jesus chooses us. And over the next few weeks, we're going to talk about not only how that Jesus chooses us, but then what does that look like? The game plan, if you will. The different player, the different pieces, kind of like in playing chess, the different moves, different strategies, what all that looks like. And we're going to talk about that over the next few weeks. But I think the very first thing had to be addressed today. That Jesus chooses me, and Jesus chooses you. And what Jesus is saying is, you got what it takes. You have what it takes to be on my team. I want you on my team. I want you to be here. Now, maybe you have, like disciples, you've chose to be on God's team. Maybe not. So I go back to the question I began with. Where are you in the game? How do you fit into the game? Are you on the court? Are you playing? Are you participating? Are you on the sidelines? Are you on the bench? Did you say no? Are you in the bleachers, or you just don't care? I'm out I'm not even in the arena. So over the next few weeks, we're going to kind of dive in a little bit more. We're going to look at this from a more engaging perspective of what all this looks like, being on God's team, what the plan looks like, the different plays, what maybe they look like, all those various things like that. John chapter 15, verse 16, Jesus says these words. He says, you did not choose me. I chose you. I chose you. I choose you. I've chose you. I pick you to be on my team. He's picked you. He's picked me. So that's what we're going to do over the next few weeks. Ephesians chapter 2, verses 19, 20. We read, it says, he says he used the apostles and the prophets for the foundation. Now he's using you, fitting you in brick by brick, stone by stone, in Christ Jesus as his cornerstone. You've been picked. I've been picked to be on his team, to join his team. And when we're picked, it's all about doing whatever we can to engage in this team and to invite people to be on this team. See, so there's not a team limit. There's not like, okay, this is a team of 12, or we only want 24 players on our team. No, Jesus says, all are invited to be on my team. I want everybody to be on my team. I want this huge, gigantic team. This huge team. Look what it says in 1 Thessalonians 1:4. It says, it's clear to us, friends, that God not only loves you very much, but also has put his hand on you for something special. For something special. He's put his hand on you, something special from you, something special from me. And it goes back to, in this time that we're at, although it may be so uncomfortable, fear, anxiety, what's around the corner. Maybe you just found out this past week that you've been laid off from work, and all these different emotions. It's an exciting time, and the church doesn't stop. And it's an exciting time to see that the church hasn't stopped. And we continue to live out this mission. That God has something special for us. That God has something special for his church. That God has something special for you and for me. Jesus says, come follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. Now, I don't know what this online stuff's going to look like, and I do know this. Each week we're going to get better and better at it, and we're going to work at it, and we're going to find different things as a church to even be more engaging. Little videos from here and there that you'll see put out on social media from myself, or either through our church social media. I just encourage you to be inviting people to come and to participate and to watch and Until I'm able to talk with you again, you guys be safe. And until next time, bye.